All right, so moving on to arguably the most exciting part of the day, the 2024-25 Franchise Partner of the Year. It's awarded to the franchise partner who demonstrates exceptional performance across all areas. This recognises strong financial results, operational excellence, leadership, customer outcomes, engagement with the network, and a clear commitment to continuous improvement and growth throughout the year. We have some measurements which include but not limited to all of the other measurements for all of the other awards which were factored in. Buy-in and engagement / culture, jobs, operational KPIs, examples being supplies, labour, travel, reviews and response times, phone answering percentages, NPS, average creditor days, and business evaluations. So, without further ado, I'm going to grab it down here. It's pretty impressive. And it's on the honour board as well. The Franchise Partner of the Year for 2024-25
Drum rolling or?
is... Mitch Gross.
Wow. That's very kind. Thank you very much.
Here it is, man. So this will get across to you soon.
What is it? I can't see it.
Yeah, it's set up.
Where's that?
We'll send the honour board downstairs here in the office has an update done to it, so we'll send that through.
Thank you.
But yeah, now I'm going to put you on the spot. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
If you remember
Is it Ames?
Yeah.
You're coming back to okay.
So I mention this to a lot of people whenever. What's that? Oh, sorry. Hang on. Rewind it back. Sorry. We're going to go through stats first, and then I've got some questions. My bad.
Sure.
We clearly rehearse this again.
Stats.
All right. So some key stats that you experienced in your business in the 2024-25 financial year. There was income of $2.2 million, which was 45% year on year. Your labour percentage was 32%, which was down 5% year on year. Supplies was 22%. You did 2,138 jobs and an average job value of $1,032, which is incredibly high. Average Google My Business rating of 5 stars, and the first franchise partner to 5 years with your renewal, which has gone through already. Really key stats there, incredible in just about all of the metrics we looked at. So congratulations to you again, Mitch.
Thank you.
Now I can read my questions. Whenever I speak to anyone, and I speak to a lot of different people, generally through franchise recruitment, but I was interviewed by a magazine yesterday as well, which was really random, but I referenced you then as well. And I always mention that 9 of your first 12 months were spent in lockdown, right? And I know, Carolina, you experienced something quite similar to that as well. But, you know, and Mitch Media, we regularly say it's been a journey. But you're now sitting here as Franchise of the Year. What advice can you give to everyone here?
Oh, that's a loaded question, James. I think, you know, it's got to be perseverance. It's just, yeah, it's funny. I keep saying it, and it's just like, you know, no matter how difficult it gets, because it can be very difficult. I'm sure we all kind of experience the stress of the job, whether it's people or money or growth or lack of, or just clients in general. But it all seems to kind of come out in the wash okay. You know what I mean? I think you got to surround yourself. I've been lucky. I've been really lucky with my team. And, you know, it's been a tumultuous year, though, with people. And the one thing I learned is that, you know, it's the culture of the team is so incredibly important. And if there's anyone like remotely toxic or just doesn't fit the mold, it can get out of control pretty quick. And so, all throughout the years, like I haven't had a lot of attrition. I haven't had a lot of bad people join the team, but it doesn't take many. And this year I had to remove my supervisor, and it just like morale was dropping and his performance wasn't very good. And, it was just so ridiculously hard to get him out of the business, and it costs a lot of money. But at the end of the day, like, we got rid of him. We washed our hands of that situation. And the team is in such a much better place at the moment than what it was before. So I think it's just, just surrounding yourself with good people, in your staff, and just, the culture, the perseverance. I love what I do. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Honestly, there's nothing else that kind of even distracts me. So, and I thank you all. I know it takes a village to build a business, and so I think everyone at that table. Is Joe there? I can't see Joe. Are you there? So I heard everyone's voice but Joe, but to make sure I thank Joe. So yeah, I think I'll pause there.
Yeah, thank you. Great insights. And, you speak to the team a lot then. You spoke around, with the values of leadership and the team culture. But so in reference to another value around accountability, but how do you hold your team accountable and maintain a great culture?
I think we're pretty strict. I brought in a 2IC who can actually help me. Previously it was all me, and it just wasn't manageable. And I felt like there wasn't a lot of control. There wasn't a lot of accountability, but bringing somebody in who, who's like, I'm not a plumber, right? So we all know that. So it's hard, not coming from a plumbing background, kind of being able to kind of delineate between is it a fault, or is it, just wasn't his fault or whatever. But bring somebody in to kind of help me with that accountability. But I think I'm really fair. I'm there for the guys. The one thing that we've always done is press tools. So what I do is I'll buy those for the guys on the account, and then they'll pay them off over time. So we kind of loan them money. So it's things like that I'm always thinking, we've got, we've implemented fortnightly virtual huddles that we're doing now, obviously every 2 weeks, but also every 2 weeks we do, a breakfast, a team breakfast. And so, and we just continue the theme, accountability. You own the job. It's part of the values that we set, as a franchise here. I know we have, Plumbing Bros values, but we also have our own kind of internal values that I'm happy to share. And one of them's own the job, from start to finish. We do a lot of project work, not massive, but if you go on site, you own it. If you're going to hand it off, you got to own it. You got to set it up and everything. And I think, with guys that are kind of maturing, wanting to achieve more, I think kind of setting that expectation and that standard goes a long way. So
yeah, lovely. I think with your own local values, please feel free to chuck those in the locker room on Facebook, because that's something everyone would love to see. I have no doubt.
If I could figure out locker room, but I will.
With Jake's sense of instructions.
There you go. Jackson help me.
You said there you're not a plumber, and I think after we're past 5 years now, I think you have, and you were quoting projects, and we probably don't want to revisit those because you probably still have nightmares about them. But I remember a $90,000 to $100,000 project you quoted in your first year. So 5 years in, I think you are a plumber now. Maybe not with the license, but I'm pretty confident you would have more plumbing knowledge than most. That's a comment. The next question. So you mentioned scaling, and there's a lot of different elements, but the biggest one most of us are aware of is through jobs, right? We need jobs. We need jobs to scale. How have you approached that, the scaling? How have you approached winning more work for your business?
Mm. Yeah, it's tough, right? I do try to leverage, you know, the sales and everything that comes through, you know, the franchise as much as I can. Like I kind of look at it like if I'm out there on my own, you know, the cost per acquisition is high, right? It's my time. It's you know, there's not a lot of conversion because I'm on and off all the time, you know, if it's kind of BD work. So I first and foremost, you know, I kind of pay for it, so I might as well just leverage it. And so we take every opportunity, you know, whether it was working with Joe in the beginning with the government work, you know, transitioning into, you know, the BD guys. But if they send over a lead, you know, we're gonna work that as hard as we can and you know and try to and to grow that. So that's where a lot of our energy is from a I guess a development or a scaling standpoint. But yeah, like I'm like constantly, you know, like we're just always canvassing like our clients and just saying, you know, how's it going? You know, like, you know, can we meet more people in the office? Can we bring in cookies? You know, and just kind of, you know, just having face and picking up the phone. It's a bit difficult now that like, you know, I got a 2IC who's social and I'm trying to put out there. That's a transition I'm sure you guys, you know, in Perth recognize is like how does, you know, James not be the face of the business? And so we're trying to kind of transition into that, putting somebody else out there. But yeah, it's just every day, every single day, kind of looking at numbers and looking at doing a look back on clients and you know how they're performing. Yeah, just keeping our you know finger on the pulse all the time.
Lovely. You mentioned, don't quote me, but you mentioned, yes, it's hard, right? We're all so heavily invested in this business and our businesses, right? It's not easy, right? It's go, go, go. I'm quoted saying high energy, high reward award. How do you maintain a positive work-life balance while building this empire in the background?
Well, you're presuming that I do. I don't. So, like, sorry, you should have preempted that a little. But oh, I find it difficult to be honest. Um, I I engaged a professional coach not too long ago, which I felt like really helped me just balance me a little bit and just put things into perspective because I you know I work pretty hard. Like I just it's tough. Like, it's tough to switch off. I'm sure everyone can appreciate that. Luckily, you know, my wife makes a good living, and my kids are a little bit older, so I don't have that kind of like added stress. And I also think like the people I surround myself with, you know, here in my employees, you know, it's easy, right? Those are some people managing people can be some of the toughest things, right? Um, but no, I mean, I think you know, with that professional coach is kind of you know how do you create a um, really kind of work on the foundation of the business and ensure that you know you are not everything in that business. You're not in it. You know, you kind of you know you're kind of managing from up above, and that's really help. Is just trying to you know learn how to delegate and be comfortable delegating because that's a really difficult thing to do. It's a difficult transition, but you know I just started to kind of most recently just you know integrate exercise into my you know, I exercise on the weekends, of course, but like during the week, it was like, you know, 7 to 6, like every day, you know, and it just it wasn't good. So, and it doesn't really help. It hasn't helped me, it doesn't help the business. So I started to kind of integrate, you know, exercising during the week a few times, and just making me the priority. So, and I feel like I'm far more balanced as a result of that.
That's amazing, buddy. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
You know, we're all living similar lives, so that's why I'm
yeah.
deliberately asking these questions because I'm sure there's takeaways, even if it's just one little nugget. But you know, you've 5 years or over 5 years now. You've seen a lot. You've had a lot of ups. You've had some downs. Outside of spending your first 12 months in lockdown, if you were starting Plumbing Bros Chatswood again tomorrow, what would you do differently?
What would I do differently from the start? Right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Uh, I dove in so deep in the beginning that I kind of I regret that. I mean, there were a ton of learnings from that, from the project work, the residential construction. I didn't have the team, I didn't have the smarts, like I just didn't have the capabilities. It was a mistake. And I spent a ton of energy and a ton of money um, trying to right that ship. And and there are also some local things like the eel. Remember that eel that we bought, yeah, from the beginning? Like nobody uses eels around here. Like, it's all kind of jetters, and it just took me a while to figure that out. And then once we started kind of investing in jetters and cameras and things like that, the business started to change because it's just kind of where we are here. There's a lot of that work. So I think it's just kind of um, not trying to take on too much, I think, in the beginning, because it's so bloody hard to build teams and to acquire assets and engage with clients and learn plumbing if you're not from a plumbing background. So I'd say, yeah, I'd probably ease my way into it with more kind of manageable segments, like real estate and things like that, doing tap services and maybe, some block drains and things like that, and just stay away from construction and, larger fit outs and renovations until you kind of know the lingo and kind of know where the mistakes can happen. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. So that's a good look back.
Mm.
Looking forward, you've just signed a renewal for another 5 years whilst taking on 2 extra territories. What does the next 5 years look like?
Oh, profitability is the focus. I mean, definitely growth, but I feel like, I still look at the balance sheet and we started to finance all our vehicles. So, we now have fixed assets in the company. We now have depreciation and things like that. So for me, it's a little bit more of like a long-term view, if you will, and just consolidating, shoring up what we've got, and not trying to grow too aggressively. We won a contract with the Department of Education, and in the beginning it was really good. Margins were tough. It was tough to make money, but then once our guys got raises, and it's been I think we're in our 3rd year now. I can't even send them to the job anymore, and making money. So, it's going to be about putting our energy into segments that can yield the profitability that we want in the business. That's really kind of paramount for me. Definitely, want to be aggressive in growth, but don't want that to come at the expense of profitability. Need profit at this stage. So that's the next 5 years really about creating a long-term thing.
Great insights. Thank you for sharing. It's still on the screen there is labour at 32%. I could talk about this all day. I'm really passionate about this topic, but we look at that. We're sort of saying, hey, 32% was a good result. If we look back to 2019, 2020, when you first started and franchising was born, 25% was the benchmark, right? And then it grew to 30, and now we're looking at the franchise of the year with 32%. It's a sign of the market conditions post-COVID and things we've had to combat. But it doesn't mean it's not impossible to drive down. So the labour to revenue percentage remains the biggest efficiency calculator in this organisation. And if everyone can focus on that for 2026, if it's the only thing they focus on, I think they'll see good results. Mitch Gross, thank you so much. I just want to, I know we're not drinking beer. Some of us have water, some of us have coffee, some of us have wine. Who knows what you've got? But I just want to propose a toast to Mitch Gross, the franchise partner for 24-25.
Oh, thank you.
To Mitch, congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Thank you all. Appreciate the time.